Hang in
Dude,
there. It is.
that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Smylie, we are one sleep closer to the beginning of the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. The anticipation is it's wearing on me, man. I'm ready. We've talked about every possible permutation of this thing, but I cannot wait to get there. Where are you at? I know we're trying to we're on baby watch. Or that's a big piece of it, but are we feeling like we're closer to getting on that airplane and locking in?
Yes, at the time we're recording this is the day that I leave for the Ryder Cup. And the episode that we filmed last night that dropped on Monday, this episode, as you're listening to it, will be dropping on Wednesday. I am in a much different state of mind. Today is Ryder Cup week, and I'm stoked about getting on the airplane and getting up to the Ryder Cup. I think just to see the grounds. I always get excited about build-outs. Build-outs, for whatever reason, and the scale of a good build-out really gets me going. I'm not sure when crowds eventually start rolling in. I don't think crowds are out there today. Maybe they start tomorrow. Does that feel right?
I keep having these emails from PGA of America with practice round times and stuff like that. So unless it's closed to the public, I mean, if they're playing practice rounds, they can sell tickets to it.
It's probably open. It probably is open.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. It's just ready to get to Friday. That's the only bad part about the Ryder Cup is that you have that one extra day of our minds are programmed for golf to start on Thursday, and so it's going to be weird when it's Wednesday and we're like, wait, we got another day to do exactly what we've done the last 2 days. So it's that's the only bad part. Other than that, should be a lot of fun.
Great for Bryson and John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton, though. Just right on schedule, Comment reserved. All right, let's move to the next part of our show.
Got him.
Oh man, no, I couldn't resist the 3 day trip. We're of course, Smylie. We're getting in the spirit of the cup, thanks to our good friends at Johnnie Walker. I'll tell you what, man, I'm human billboarding right now. And it's a delight to be able to human billboard for a company that has my son's name in it. So I'm wearing my Johnnie Walker Devereaux merch collab. You can see the shirt on here. The hat. Let's see. I got to get my opposites. The hat's right there. If you're watching on YouTube, we also have two amazing bottles of Johnnie Walker back here. The blue label here on my left and the black label on my right. And why am I telling you about all this? Because our good friends at Johnnie Walker are putting together on the Spirit of the Cup tour. We've talked a little bit about this on the show, Smylie, but we are about to be in New York City and theoretically could go join in on this thing if we were not working on site at Bethpage the entire week. But you can if you're in New York City on the streets from Wednesday, September 24th to Sunday, September 28th. It's an experience that is open to the public. You can chip your way to glory while sipping signature Johnnie Walker cocktails. I'm unfortunately not bringing my clubs on this trip, which feels like probably right. Oh, here we go. We got a little blue label box coming in on Smiley's cam here. But I assume they're providing wedges. Just show up with a desire to drink Johnnie Walker, and
please
I'm sure
show
they'll
up
give
with your
everything
full golf bag.
like the guy that brings his bag to Topgolf. You're like,
yes.
Hey, I'd like to drink some Johnnie Walker, but like I'm serious about getting my spin loft correct if I'm going to win some stuff here. They, as mentioned on the merch, I mean, this is part of the Devereaux collab. They got a lot of cool stuff like this: polos, hats, t-shirts, cardigans, crossbody bags. So if you go and do this, you can buy some of this merch. And I think the coolest thing about all this, Smylie, is that this is all part of Johnnie Walker's commitment to progress because the proceeds from the cocktails you buy while you're chipping and getting your spin loft right, the shirts you buy, all this stuff goes to benefit Fairways to Leadership. It's a national nonprofit dedicated to advancing access to leaders and leadership opportunities through golf literacy to build the next generation of diverse leaders, one fairway at a time. Pretty good deal right there, huh, Smylie?
It sure is. Maybe not one fairway at a time for me. Maybe the right rough at a time.
That's it. If we can critique, it might be that's a one.
If we're tallying the amount of fairways to advance this project, it's going to take too long. We got to just balls in play. That's the way in which this thing continues on.
One natural area at a time. One hazard that you can play out of at a time. Or even for some of us like the ship balls out of bounds. You can re-tee or take your drop in the fairway.
This is me right here looking over a fence to see if that's my ball. And is there an access point? Is the gate open? Can I go into the yard? Are they home?
I like that. We can add that suggested copy next time around. And always nice to have a glass of Johnnie Walker with you while you're hunting for golf balls. That kind of takes the edge off a little bit. If it was not 11:18 a.m. on a Monday morning, I might be having a glass myself while we launch into the next portion of the show, which I'm delighted about from a producing perspective because
you didn't do
I didn't do any work. I don't have to have a rundown up. This is what we're going to get into. I'm fired up about this because Smylie, of course, to prepare for broadcasting this Ryder Cup for NBC, has done multiple hours worth of research and notes, and I'm watching it highlighting over here in the background, all the things that he needs to broadcast this event in the best possible way. And you got some true false games for us, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're just going to roll through it together and get inside your mind. This is going to give people a little bit of insight as to like how you're prepping for this thing. And we're all going to learn about the Ryder Cup in the process. So let's get into it.
All right, welcome to the game show, Charlie, because you are the first and only contestant of this game. And you're going to either walk away from this experience feeling like you are the smartest man in the world, or you're going to feel educated about the things that you did learn and that you wish you did know before. So let's see how smart you are about the Ryder Cup. These are some pretty difficult tasks, but true false, it's 50-50 chance. I like those chances if I was taking a test at LSU. Not a big fan of the 5 potential answers on tests. That was always silly. Never need an E, just an A and a B format. So just true false. So
is this like SAT format? Do I get any points for signing my name?
It's a pass fail. It's either this is better. It's better or less than 50%. Are you a true Ryder Cup fan? If you're better than 50%, we'll give you the yes. Good. If not, then I'm going to give you a Ryder Cup book you have to read on the plane.
Fair enough. You've been handing out books lately. Try to get Michael Asasso to read a book. Why not?
He did not read
Smiley's book club. There's no chance he read that book. No chance
he did not read the book. All right. You ready for first question?
Let's go.
Okay. True or false? Europe has played 50 more matches than the United States team.
50 more matches than the United States team.
When you look at the entire roster and you take up how many players have played matches.
You're saying the current players on each of these rosters has Europe played 50 more matches. I was like, mathematically, Smylie, they've probably played the same amount of matches.
Can I rephrase it for you?
Feel free.
Can I rephrase it for you? This is kind of a tough start here because I want to make it to where it's a fact that you can take away to tell your buddies. I'm actually going to change the number on you, if that's okay. So Europe has played more or less than 72 matches. Actually, that's not even – this is a terrible start, by the way. How about this? I'm just going to give you a fact to start. This is unbelievable.
Producing's fun, isn't it? It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
I was trying to get you to answer that Europe has played 72 more matches than the United States, but the problem is I gave you a number that was 72, so there was the only answer was tie. It was not a more or less. So like even when I tried to rephrase the question, it still was wrong. So I don't know. That was a bad start. Sorry.
I'll say this: when you teed it up, and once I try to wrap my head around the math of it, which is anytime numbers get involved on the show,
I should have kept to the first. The first question was fine, but I wish you made it okay.
But I would have said true, right? Because I think that if you think about some of these guys, and we all know, we see the highlights, but you almost forget like how long a guy like Rory's been around. Rory's had he's had all these evolutions of what it means to him to play matches for country or for Europe, right? Mm-hmm. And like there was the exhibition Rory. We almost forget that Rory existed now. And all the pictures of him winning, the last away Ryder Cup in Medina. And so to me, it's like you think like there are a number of those guys on this team that are deeply experienced. And so I would have said true, but that's a pretty wild factoid.
Okay, here you go. I'm going to build off of this whole thing that you just talked about with Rory and Rose. Here's the next one. Rory and Rose, have they played more matches combined than the United States team combined?
Okay. Okay, so let me think about the team, the United States team. So Cantlay's played a lot of matches. Shopla's played a lot of matches. JT's played a lot of matches. Other guys I'm missing. Yeah, obviously Scotty's less experienced than we think. This will be his third Ryder Cup. I'm gonna say true that they have played more than the entire United States team.
Ding, 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 ding. Bang.
Look at the guy.
All right, I'm going to mark
Off
you
to
down.
a hot start.
All right, so that is a check mark for question number 1. Okay, that is true. Rory and Rose have played 59 matches, 3 more than the entire U.S. team combined.
59 matches. I mean, and just I'm trying to think when Justin Rose's first Ryder Cup even was, but I mean that is, you're one short. If you're talking about one player, so split in half, but you're one short of 6 5-session Ryder Cups, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so that is a ton of experience.
So Rose has qualified for every single Ryder Cup except for 3 in his entire career from when he started playing in his first. So that gives you a scale of, how many teams that he has made, it's remarkable, really, especially with the amount of Europe talent has come out and the amount of over the last 10, 20 years.
We talked a little bit about this after Memphis, but I just don't think we stopped to look back and appreciate Justin Rose's career enough. Like they did the bio of him and Tommy Fleetwood in that final group. And it's like, man, this guy has just been doing it for a really, really long time at a really, really high level. And by the way, when he does do it at a high level, it's often in high leverage events, majors, things like that. So, all right, shout out to Justin Rose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of stay on the Europe side here since we kind of have that flavor going here a little bit. I'm going to ask you this. So Europe has a negative record in 4-balls and singles. True or false?
Okay. Like all time, full history of the Ryder Cup competition? Or is it since a certain year?
I think this is since 1995.
Since 1995. So,
sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So 4-ball and singles. Man, yeah, I'm gonna go true. I'm gonna go. That's true.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
Europe is 18, 20, and 11 in the 4-ball, and they're 11, 15, and 6 in the singles. Now, they have a very positive record in foursomes. This is the one that just blows you away. They're 30, 15, and 2 in foursomes, Europe is.
That's staggering.
Since 1995.
That is staggering.
Crazy.
It's one of those things where, and there's a lot of talk about why that is, and is it a camaraderie thing? Is it, people talk about, is it because they play for the love of the game, the Americans want to get paid, et cetera, and you could probably chalk it up to a lot of intangible factors, but that's what I'm curious to see. Like, we're getting started with foursomes at Bethpage. Could be in a hole early if you're an American.
I know. How about this? So Rose and Rory are 14, 7, and 2 combined in foursomes. You don't think of Rory as much of a player that would be overly successful in the foursomes. Obviously, he's really good at golf, so it shouldn't matter. But I found that very interesting because his record in that format is better than his 4-ball, which you would think would. Honestly, 4-ball, the amount of birdies that he would make in his distance, you would assume that would be his better of the 2.
That is one that you almost, you got to think into it a little bit, but not too much, because I think a lot of it is when the Europeans lose, like at Whistling Straits, they're losing by large margins in those other formats, and when they win, it's trying to kind of chalk up how big were the wins and how bad were the losses. But that's pretty wild to think that and then in that span of time, they're the ones that have won the away Ryder Cup. So really, the formula's working for the Europeans.
Okay, here we go. I got one for you. All right, only 4 players have a positive 4-ball record. True or false?
Only 4 players of this entire 24-player pool?
Europe. Sorry, still in Europe.
Still Europe. Only 4 players have a positive 4-ball record. See, like now, I feel like I'm at the part of the test where I'm looking at all the bubbles I filled in, I filled in like too many trues in a row. I'm like, do I bubble another true or do I try to zag a little bit? Like, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of the test creator. I'm gonna say false.
That's true. Ding, ding, ding,
That's
ding,
true
ding.
as well.
All right, but you gotta tell me.
Wait. Was the answer false or true?
It's true that you said it was false. That is an incorrect fact. It was an incorrect fact that I gave. But what I'm going to ask. All right, so hang on there. So there was not.
Everyone out there listening and watching is like the way you said it was true that it was false.
It's fair. It's fair.
It's so good. Okay,
right,
sorry. Continue.
There wasn't 4 players. So how many players have a positive record in the 4-ball for Europe?
Oh, this is interesting. Because you could go lower.
So
you could go lower than 4.
So this is like a part A, part B situation. It's like you got the guess right on the false.
Yeah.
So help me out. What's the correct answer here? Out of 12 guys, how many have a positive 4-ball record?
Let's go 3.
You got it.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Ding, 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 baby. Let's go.
How about that?
All right. Part C. Who are they?
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Okay. Let's think about, like, I think recent entrance has to be a big one. So, like, I'm going to say, I should know this off the top of my head what the matches are, but without having the stats, like, say Ludwig, Victor, and Bobby Mack.
There you go. You got Bobby Mack, but you got the other 2 wrong.
Oh, I did.
Bobby Mack 1-0-1. Justin Rose is 5-4-1.
Wow.
And Tyrrell Hatton is 2-1-2. So those aren't overwhelmingly good positive records, just barely 1 over 50%. So found that one interesting. Okay,
I wanted to say Tyrrell. I really want to say Tyrrell, but I'm like, he's been on enough of these teams where they lost bigs. Anyway, that's okay.
Okay. Fleetwood and Rahm are the only 2 players that are undefeated in foursomes.
Okay. Oh, that's a true false. Fleetwood and Rahm only undefeated in foursomes. That's false.
Okay. So who are the players that are undefeated in foursomes?
Oh, there are some. There are Europeans that are undefeated in foursomes. That's what you're saying?
So Fleetwood and Rahm are the only 2 players that are undefeated in foursomes. True or false?
Yeah, I'm saying false to that.
That they aren't undefeated?
They're not undefeated.
Okay, well, that's wrong. But your answer's right. Rahm and Fleetwood are undefeated in foursomes, but they're not the only 2 players that are undefeated in foursomes.
You are a diabolical test administrator. Like, everything you're saying to me is like putting me in pretzels. I cannot wait to read the comments on this. Okay, all right. So that was false. Good. So there are other players that are also undefeated in foursomes on the European.
So let's wrap our mind around this first. Fleetwood and Rahm are both undefeated in foursomes.
That's wild.
But there's also somebody else that
straights, like really. So just they have some of those matches, I guess.
Fleetwood is 4-0, Rahm is 4-0, and then there's another player who's also undefeated in foursomes.
Because did Bobby Mack only play 4-ball at Rome? This is a tough one. So you said Fleetwood and Rahm. Bobby Mack. Should I guess Bobby Mack again? Keep hammering Bobby Mack. What we got?
Oberg 2-0. Played with Victor Hovland.
With the 9 and 7, that was foursomes, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah,
that's right.
Down there. I'm mixing my guys in my head. I'm switching them around. Okay. What do you got for me next? I love your hot start.
All right. So how many players have a positive singles record for the Europe team?
Positive singles record.
This isn't true or false. This is just 1 out of 12. So this is, yeah.
I'm going to say 6 players.
3.
Wow.
3 players.
That's right. That would have followed the earlier single stat. I should refresh my memory there.
All right, who are those players?
3 players, positive singles. Let's say, man, this is hard. I'm trying to think about where I want to anchor my guess off of. I'm going to say Rory.
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm going to say, I was trying to think about some of these past Ryder Cups. Let's say Rory, let's say Tyrrell, and let's say I was gonna keep guessing Bobby Max.
Yeah, Bobby Max, right? Bobby Max,
okay,
Rory,
okay.
and Hovland.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's a little follow-up question with Victor Hovland. So Victor Hovland has only played his singles matches. So he's 1-0-1. He has only played singles matches against Patrick Cantlay. True or false?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go true. So that's a great factoid if it's true.
False. Colin Morikawa is the correct answer.
He played both of them against Colin Morikawa on both sides. Okay. Wow.
Yes.
So we think we get a rematch this year.
Just saying.
I think that'd be a great take for you. If you're like to follow up on Bones deals, the captains need to come together and they need to have Scotty and Rory. You're like, as an addendum, could they also make sure that Victor Hovland and Colin Morikawa play singles again? I think we need to get a bug in somebody's ear on that one.
Okay, here's another one. For a player that's played more than one singles match, there's another player not on the Europe side that has played a European player in both of his matches. That's not Colin Morikawa.
Scotty and Rahm, right?
That's right. Good job.
Yeah.
But Rahm had played an extra Ryder Cup in 2021 in Paris, and he played against Tiger Woods, and he beat him.
Right, but of Scotty's two, right? They're both the Rahm singles matches. Yeah.
Good job.
Because that one was because I remember that was when we started. Rahm was close to 1 in the world at Whistling Straits or something like that, and Scotty was still like the bonus guy on the team, and Scotty beat him, even though it was a blowout. I was like, that was a match of interest, and it was that was kind of the beginning of the Scotty Scheffler arc.
That's right. Okay, here we go. Let's keep ripping through this. Can you? This is just a little trivia question.
Okay.
In 2012, on the Miracle in Medina, who did Rory beat?
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to cheat on this. I should have looked this over, but I have to refresh myself. I
turn your brain on. 5, 4, 3.
Just tell me the name.
Keegan.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He was late to the tee.
How did I miss? That's right. He was late to the tee because he Erica picked him up, and that's how they got married. Dude, that's the most embarrassing miss of all these. In fact, here's how embarrassing that is. I
kind of threw it at you out of nowhere.
Well, I'm in true false mode, and here's how bad that is. That I watched. Yesterday, I watched a highlight of Keegan and Rory playing on Instagram. I was just kind of scanning through. All right, that's a bad one. We've got to just own that one and keep it moving. All right, what do you got for me next?
Okay, so Tommy has made it to the 18th hole in his matches 3 times. True or false?
It's singles matches, right?
No,
matches.
All of his matches. 3 total times in 12 matches. He's made it to the 18th hole 3 times.
Okay, let me think about. Yeah, let's go true.
It's false. He's only made it to the 18th hole 1 time.
Wow.
That means that boy is beating the stew out of guys. He had a halved match, I believe, a couple of years ago. Other than that, he's getting pretty good at finishing guys off on the 15th, 16th hole.
Dude, Tommy Fleetwood is going to be a big problem, I think, at this Ryder Cup.
Going to be a big problem. Can I tell you who he's beaten to? Tommy's not going up against the back half of draws of the U.S. team. He's beaten Tiger Woods, Patrick Reed, Jordan Spieth, JT, Bryson, Xander, Patrick Cantlay, and then this past Ryder Cup in Rome, Max Homa and Harmon. So before that, I mean, you're looking at some of the stronger teams and stronger U.S. players that they've put out in recent memory, and Tommy's shaking their hands on the 15th, 16th hole.
That's phenomenal. I mean, it's kind of amazing. We talked about this throughout the year before he won at East Lake, of just that as alarming as this might be in a stroke play context, it just has no bearing on the Ryder Cup, where you're partnered for all of your rounds except for one. And he's playing in good form. Now the fact that he's won that, he was in the mix this last week on the DP World Tour. I think Tommy's going to be a 5-session guy, and I think he might be the leading. He could be.
I think he will, man. I think
so. If
there's anything that I've learned from the Europe side and looking at all of their records, Tommy Fleetwood is he potentially could play his way into being one of the best Ryder Cup players of all time. And based off of just pure percentages, it's he just continues to get more and more at bats. He could play. I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think of how old he is. How many Ryder Cups can he play? But could go down as one of the best Ryder Cup players from Team Europe by the time he's done.
That it really is. I'm looking at. He's 34 right now.
It's tough. I mean, yeah, it's.
But he keeps playing like. I mean, he and Rory definitely have a few more left in them. Into their late 30s, I think. And yeah. Justin Rose is here doing it. Early to mid 40s, and there's nothing to say that they can't be around for 4 or 5 more.
No, certainly not. All right, let's turn the page over to the United States side to let's see how sharp we are on our trivia on this portion of the deal. Okay, true or false here? The United States has a positive winning record in total points since 1995.
Okay, say that positive winning record in total points. Like they're just plus on
their
points
overall record in all matches that they have played since 1995.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's true.
That is true, and it's closer than you think. They are 26, 22, and 8, which is actually this. I apologize. Okay. So I needed to go back and make a correction on all this. When I said back to 1995, what I meant, and I see it now, I should have put this up top so I had the right stat here. So all of the records that I've given you from the USA and the Europe side, these are just the players that have played in Ryder Cup. So overall, their records in Ryder Cup. So I apologize about the 1995 thing. But for the most part, it doesn't change too much. It's all the players that have played in Ryder Cups. So
here's the good news, Smylie, is I wasn't gonna be a stickler on that one. So this is such a good game. Oh, you should do more versions of this. This is one of my.
You should have seen me. I hosted a game show. It was a Jeopardy style game show at my boy's house for Christmas this past year. And my boy's got like the fire going. He's got like he's got this aroma coming from the boiling pot of warm water. And it was pretty warm in there. There's probably 30 or so people in this deal. Everybody's kind of in one smaller room listening to me do this Jeopardy game show. And so I come out in a full cotton turtleneck and suit. And meanwhile, I had already slammed like 4 beers. So like I am showing up to this game show, like ready to rock and roll and feeling good. And honestly, I had done all of the work. So just like this, I have all of the information, all of the questions. But the problem is I had no idea how the game was going to work. So everybody's like asking about so everybody get onto teams. And then from there, I had no idea how the points were going to be structured because I had like Jeopardy style of all of like 100 question, 200, 300, 400, 500. But then the problem was I had like the Price is Right format going on from the get-go. So I've mixed in all these different game show games that made no sense. And all of a sudden, 15 minutes into this deal, I am pouring sweat because I can't figure out the game. I'm definitely in a
cotton turtleneck,
if you will, like too drunk to taste this chicken type of situation. And yeah, anyways, it isn't that bad here because this was just a clerical error. But for the most part, We've gone back between a true and false game, a bit of a stats error, and now I'm making you say, okay, I need to fill in the blank.
I just love like the idea of Jeopardy, or whatever. They're like, read the question, like, oh, well, I just read the answer actually. So
exactly, yeah.
Do you want to just like do a fill in the blank, or like what do you want to do here?
Yeah, it's tough.
This is good. This is a good.
Is it hot in here?
Okay, all right. Here's the good news: is we're still imparting Ryder Cup information. You're still getting the information. It's just in a very convoluted manner. And actually, this might be a bit within a bit where we're playing tricks on your brain. We're making you process and understand the information. It's going to make you better. So just lean into that if you're watching or listening.
Yes.
Let's continue from there. This is like Thanksgiving League, Smylie. This is borderline Thanksgiving League.
Oh my god.
This is good. This is good. We game showify the show. This is fantastic.
Okay. All right, here we go. We're back at it. And the next question I have for you is that true or false, there is only one player with a winning record in foursomes for USA.
On the current roster, one player winning records in foursome. I think that's true.
That's right. Who is it?
Okay, foursomes, current roster winning. I'm gonna say Xander Schauffele.
That is wrong. It is Colin Morikawa. 2-1.
Okay.
Got to remember the Whistling Straits. Him and Dustin Johnson were just absolutely on the tear. A lot of the points get skewed a little bit, or just overall data from that, because Europe just absolutely throttled. So some guys' records maybe are a little bit better from that. But hey, they played the match.
Right, that's the game you're playing when you're trying to answer these things, is like recalling to a certain extent who played who in certain sessions, but also where do they make up for their statistical inefficiencies in the blowout that's going to buffer it, even if you're remembering the most recent loss. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Colin, I think, is the biggest question mark for me this entire Ryder Cup, right? We've talked about the caddy changes and the equipment changes, and he's got the new putter that he's been working on, the center shafted in between the end of the season and now. And I just don't like, if Colin Morikawa shows up and plays like he has in these Ryder Cups, he could be a huge problem for Europe. But we just don't know what version of him we're getting, and so that's gonna be super interesting.
All right, so the singles is the only session of the three, so we're talking foursomes, four ball, and singles, that the United States has a winning record in with the players that are on this team. True or false?
I somehow didn't even understand a little bit of what you just said to me. Sorry, let's run that one back. Okay,
there's three different deals that they play. They play foursomes, four balls, and singles.
Got it.
The singles is the only session that the United States of this roster, as it's currently constructed, has a winning record in. I'm saying that there's a negative record in four ball and foursomes.
See, I'm gonna say false, because I think that they should have a winning record in four ball.
That's right. That's correct.
That's a little deductive reasoning there.
All right, let me do a little bit of give you the records here. So foursomes, the United States, they're 8-13 with this roster. Four balls, they're 10-4 and 6, and singles are 8-5-2.
Okay, so kind of on the flip side of what we heard on the European side, but still,
that is the flip side. So foursomes in Europe for that team, they're 30-15-2, four balls 18-20-11. So close to a middle ground there for them. But the singles 11-15-6. So singles definitely a bit of an advantage looking at this USA team.
Okay, there we have it.
Okay, how about this? There's three players that are undefeated in singles, true and false, on this U.S. team.
Three undefeated players in singles on this U.S. team. I can think of at least two. So it's just, you're saying it has to be three?
Three,
like,
exactly.
Like 4 is wrong, 2 is wrong. Like it has to be 3 exactly. I'm gonna say false.
Okay, that's right. How many?
Okay. Let me think about that. I think I'm gonna guess it. I'm gonna say 4.
2.
Yeah, I had worn the 2, and I just went the wrong side.
All right, who are the 2 players?
Scotty, right? Because
Wrong.
beat Rom and had. I thought he had with Rom at Rome. But I have that wrong.
Yeah,
Because he beat Rom with wrestling straights, and
if you're taking a half as a win, I'm saying undefeated. Having not lost a match. So I guess.
Yeah, that's right, though. He didn't lose. He halved it.
Well, I guess I would have had to rephrase the question to that have not lost a match. I guess halved falls in that category.
Who's only won all their singles matches?
I mean, if you're watching
a bit, this wouldn't be as good.
If you're watching your football team and you tie the football game, do you count it as a win?
You're still undefeated. Well, it's different. Okay, I'll say it to you this way. Just coming off.
I don't think you're quite undefeated. The way it was phrased, undefeated. But they haven't lost a match. So
it's like the Ryder Cup thing where if you tie, you retain it, right? So it's like there's one thing where it's like to win the Ryder Cup where you have to win 14.5 points, or there's to lift the trophy because if you tie 14-14 and you still have it,
I'm giving you the Scotty one. I'm giving you the Scotty one.
Oh yes. So that gets me to 3. Now we got to go in and see if I can find another one who had to match that gets me to 4. All right. So there's 2 other players you're saying on this roster,
and they didn't have
not
any
only
matches.
not lost the singles match. Oh, they never played any match. Are they rookies? You're saying or
no? Like they have not had any matches. They've won all their matches.
They've won all their singles matches. Okay. Ooh. What? Bryson?
No.
No one? No? I'm trying to remember. He lost one somewhere along the way.
2.
Just give him. Yeah, just give him to me.
JT and Cantlay.
JT and Cantlay. Okay.
3-0 for JT, 2-0 for Cantlay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
The one that comes to mind for JT went out first in Paris and took down Rory in that first match, 1-1 up. Mm-hmm. He beat Sepp last year in Rome, and then at Whistling Straits, beat somebody. Can't remember. Cantley's 2-0.
I'm just still in a mental pretzel from the way that.
Yeah, no, you caught me on that one. You definitely caught me on that one. Wait, sometimes the stats man makes mistakes, and that time actually that was a clerical error.
I wish you would have done the show in a turtleneck.
You were gonna get it?
Close. Just covered in sweat. If you tie, are you still undefeated? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
Okay. Scotty and Bryson are both. Hold on, let me think how to rephrase this. Scotty and Bryson both have not won a foursomes match. True or false?
Okay. So let me think about this. So foursomes, like obviously Scotty did not win any foursomes matches in Rome. Scotty played with Bryson, Whistling Straits. Correct? I have that right? Scotty played Bryson. He played with someone else. I'm trying to remember. I want to say that's false. They won a foursomes match. Was that a 4-ball match? I'm gonna say that's false.
The answer there would be true. Actually, Scotty and Bryson have yet to win a foursomes match.
Who did Scotty play foursomes with? Did he play 4-ball with Bryson at Whistling Straits?
He played 4-ball with Bryson.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And remember, Scotty was the last guy on the team. Right. At Whistling Straits.
So that makes sense. Okay. All right. I just was curious. I thought for some reason. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. They tied. Oh, was that foursomes? Yeah. They. Okay. All right. That makes sense. That's a good factoid.
So Scotty and Bryson, the 2 best players theoretically on this United States team, has not won a foursomes match. So that seems like a fairly interesting nugget. And so I'll ask this as well. Scotty, true or false, has never made it past the 16th hole in a foursomes match.
I'm going to say true to that.
That is true. Has never made it past the 16th hole.
So and it's going to be so interesting. So we were talking about this. The courses looks like they're going to get 3/4 of an inch of rain on Thursday. It's going to be wet. We're already kind of worried about the length of this course and relative to some of the skill sets of the guys in the American team. That's going to be a big one. Like you can almost Sharpie it in. Scotty and Russ are going to play together in that first session on Friday morning. Feels like that has to be a win for them.
Yeah, I think so. All right, I'm gonna keep moving on here. Keep this train moving. You definitely were right with Scotty and Bryson playing a match together. So just tying a bow to that. They're 1-0-1 playing 4-ball. Don't expect these guys to get paired together, knowing that they want to try to separate it. But thought that was interesting. Okay, so JT has played one Ryder Cup match. This is not a true or false question. He's played one Ryder Cup match with someone not named Jordan Spieth. Who is that player? And I want to go back and actually find this to see. It's incredible how many matches those two guys have played together, Jordan and JT. It's upwards of 10 plus.
Can I get a hint on like if it's
a player on this roster?
Very recent. Oh, it's on this roster.
Yeah, there's a player on this roster that he's played a match with. But just one.
I know. I watched.
This is just Ryder Cup, so sometimes it's tough because President's Cup kind of leaks into your brain of like JT played with Tiger at the President's Cup.
Well, like I vividly remember him playing with someone else, and I'm just spaceballing on like who that was.
3, 2.
Cantlay?
That's right, Cantlay.
I knew it had to be Cantlay.
I think this is one of the most interesting storylines because JT obviously has the most experience of any United States player, but it's all of it in foursomes and 4-ball with Jordan Spieth. So if JT is going to be playing, who's he going to be with? Patrick Cantlay already has a partner in Xander Schauffele. So who's going to be the partner for JT? Who's going to be the new partnership for him this week? But it makes you miss Jordan. It does. It makes you miss Jordan because they have a ton of success together.
I feel like JT and Burns just feels right to me. I don't know. I mean, like there's way more guesstimating them for this year than there was in Rome on the U.S. pairing side.
The Charlie gut, I like that.
The gut, I'm just throwing things out here right
now. In that match, by the way, with JT and Cantlay, it was a 4-ball match in 2021 in which obviously the United States, I guess 21, that was Whistling Straits. So that was a good one. They have that match, so they didn't even win.
Yeah, that was the one. That was when JT. The one of the most vivid moments I remember from that Ryder Cup was forget which hole it was, but that absurd like flop shot that Jordan had to hit after JT put him beneath the bunker and like had it straight up. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, let me see if I got any more nuggies. Okay. All right, how about this? One more here with this United States side, and then we get some broader stuff. There are 4 players that have not played foursomes for this United States team. True or false?
4 players who have not played foursomes, and are you saying like just rookies? Like just any
4 players have not played Ryder Cup foursomes.
Well, I mean, shoot, like we have like 4 rookies, and so. At least that many, right? 4 rookies, yeah. Cam, Ben Griffin, JJ, and Russell Henley. So at least those 4, and then the rest of the guys. I'm gonna say false.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna say.
So outside, that's the bonus part. It's who is the one player that's played a Ryder Cup who has not played foursomes.
Yeah, so it's because I think I was going to guess 5. I want to say Harris English.
That's right. Yeah. Good job. There you go. There you go.
I definitely have had some blind spots today, but there are certain things. Yeah, it's like if I get in the corridors of my brain, I can get some stuff right. Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay, in 2021, now this is just a little bit of history of the Ryder Cup that maybe can buck some trends here, but back in 2021, every player on the United States team won a point. True or false?
True.
Yes. And how about this Ryder Cup? All is made about rookies, and there's 4 on this team for the United States. The rookies for that. This is the last time it was in the U.S. Got to remember this too. There were some incredible rookies that came from that team. You got Cantlay, Morikawa being the 2 guys that had incredible weeks. They were 14-4-3, the rookies that week.
Wow.
14-4-3. Thought that was interesting.
That's
and
wild,
that's the biggest win in Ryder Cup history, 10-point win.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a formidable squad that year. Undeniable. They'll be curious. Yeah. We'll see how it goes this time around for the Rooks.
Okay. Since 1995, Europe has won more than 5 Ryder Cups in the United States. True or false?
More than 5? How's that? What do you mean?
Like they've won the Ryder Cup at least 5 more times than the United States since 1995.
At least 5 more. But isn't it? Well, so you're saying like
if you're counting the amount of Ryder Cups either Europe or US has won, Europe has won more than 5 Ryder Cups than the United States.
So like if the United States won 5, the Europe's won 10?
Yeah.
False.
It's in which way?
Well, that'd be impossible. If the only time if they've just been going back and forth, except Europe wins in Medina, it'd have to be the same with like a 2 Ryder Cup margin or something, or 2 or 3 Ryder Cup margin or something, right?
We're going back to 1995. So we're talking.
I think that's too high. I think 5's way too high.
Oh, it's 6.
It's 6? How do I not know this?
Europe has won 10 Ryder Cups, and the United States has won 4.
That's right. There was like that stretch in there where I knew the Europeans had won more Ryder Cups, but I really hadn't thought about the spread like that. I just felt like it's closer. That's insane. That's a tough scene.
I even got you on the.
You got me on the wrong side. I was like, this is ridiculous. This can't even be. That is crazy. Hold on. I just want to go look at.
Go look from 1995 to.
No, I believe it. It's just, yeah. Okay. So 95, obviously 95 Europe, 97 Europe, 99 United States. Yeah. Then Europe wins 3 times in a row. Obviously 02, 04, 06. That's a tough scene. Because that's the thing is if you win a road Ryder Cup and then you hold it on either side. Yeah, that was less of that was just a bad math. That was just Charlie's math brain short circuiting. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Okay. Here's one for you. Since 1995, sorry, this is all of our stats kind of like work off this 1995 thing. Cause like if you use the entire Ryder Cup, it feels like almost outdated. I wish it almost was something around 2000 because it was much more of the equipment that you can kind of at least refer to. But sticking with that, Europe has only lost on their home turf once since 1995. True or false?
Since 90, I'll say false 0 times.
That's right. They haven't lost. Well, I haven't lost at home. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
You would have thought that one time of all the great players that have come from the United States,
totally, that
one of those teams would have won a road game.
1995,
man. Like I was born in 91.
I mean, we're talking about like you would have thought like Tiger prime years. Like we're literally talking about the entirety of Tiger's prime. I know there were injuries and certain things. There were all sorts of aberrations that happened, but you would have thought that of all those teams, certainly one of them would have been able to go there, led by the greatest player in the history of golf, and would have won a road Ryder Cup. We hadn't done it once.
How many times have U.S. Not been able to win on their home turf during that same span? You can think of one.
Yeah, no, I 1, 2, 3. Let me think about this. 3.
Yeah,
is that right? Yeah.
3 is right. Medina, and there's 2 other ones in which I just do not want to look up right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just see if there's any other ones here we can do as we close this out. I only got a couple more if I have any. Let's see. Looks like some just general factoids that I have here. This one's good. This is not a factoid.
Okay.
So in the opening session, we're talking the opening session, which sometimes has changed from foursomes to 4 balls. So it's not actually apples and oranges here in this comparison. But the United States in the opening session, do they have a positive or a negative winning record over the last 8 opening sessions?
I'm going to say negative.
This one's going to blow your brain. They are 6-1-1 in the first opening session in the last 8 Ryder Cups.
That's wild. I mean, I could have seen myself being wrong by a small margin, but I don't know why. I always feel like we're in a hole, but that's more indicative of like a late game collapse than anything. 6-1-1 over the last 8 sessions.
They've won the first session in 4 of the last 5 Ryder Cups. And if you do add up all the points, it's 12.5 to 7.5 if you're adding up the last 5 Ryder Cups. But if you look at last year, Europe, they swept that opening session 4-0. So if you look at the last 5 Ryder Cups and you see that 12.5 to 7.5 is the total amount of points in the last 5 Ryder Cups. So 7.5 to that 4. So they had only earned 3.5 points in that opening session in the other 4 Ryder Cups. So it just kind of goes to show that last year was just a bit of a, like, Europe played good and US got punched in the face.
That's wild.
Crazy, right? That one blew me away.
It really, I mean, some of these, it's like they're you talk about the Ryder Cup and there are things that feel like they're hard truths or they're just that your brain remembers it a certain way. And then when presented with the stats, like, wow, that I kind of got to rethink about how this whole thing goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the second session though.
Okay.
So true or false, Europe has won the second session in the last 5 Ryder Cups.
Wait, like every single one of them?
I should say they have a positive record when it comes to total amount of points.
Well,
if you're adding up all the points from US and Europe, have they won that second session?
I would guess true based on the numbers you tell me for the US in the first session. I'm going to guess true there.
That is true. They've won 4 out of the last 5 second sessions, which it kind of bugs everything that we're programmed in that. Now, again, it's not apples and oranges. Foursomes isn't always going off first, but still, you think about the U.S. in the afternoon getting to 4 balls, and that's where they've been better, and that is true. But over the last 5 years, the U.S. has come out really strong, but hasn't played as well in the afternoon. But Europe in that 2023 Ryder Cup just has totally flipped everybody's brains at what has happened over the last 5 Ryder Cups.
That's amazing.
14-6, by the way, is if you add it up, 14 points to 6 points. U.S. has only scored 6 points in the second session in the last 5 Ryder Cups. I found that just remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, I think just applied to this Ryder Cup, it's thinking about the dynamics of energy, crowd support. You know, does the U.S. go out, run out, 3-1, 4-0 winners in the morning, and everyone's ready to start the party? And you got to be real careful about, engraving the name on the trophy too early because the Europeans come out in that second session and really kind of claw back and make it closer than it needs to be so they can have another Miracle Medina type situation. So it's that's a good one.
All right. And last one here, and this isn't even a question, just letting you know just how close these teams really have been. And this is over the last 7 Ryder Cups. When you look at just the amount of total points available, Europe has scored 99.5. United States has scored 96.5, which is very, very tightly contested. If you want to break it down even further, Europe has scored 13 points in foursomes. USA has scored 24, so an 8-point advantage there for Europe in foursomes. 4-ball, United States has a 5.5-point advantage in that session, or I should say both of those sessions. Singles, this is the most interesting one. In the last 7 Ryder Cups in singles, Europe is at 42 points. The United States is at 42 points. So dead even in singles. So we have this in our head that, you just get to singles and it's United States game. But over the last 7 Ryder Cups, Europe and the United States have scored the exact same amount of points in singles. Isn't that crazy?
It's interesting. Like breaking it down, obviously there are different kind of margins of victory, but then when you look at the individual matches and put them all together, it's a lot tighter than we think it is, or at least some of the preconceived notions we have around format, maybe not necessarily the case.
And there's four rookies on this United States team, which is a pretty big number compared to the only one rookie from the Europe side. But over the last 6 Ryder Cups, the U.S. is impressive, 47, 25, and 10 record for rookies. So this group of rookies has a chance to build on, a system where guys show up and they play well as rookies, which the captain's picks not quite as good, but the rookies have seemed to play well.
I'll tell you what, Smylie. It was a fun journey through your notes in game show style.
Hey, for the most part, about 80% of it was accurate. The other 20%.
Yeah, close enough. Anyways, yeah, I'd like to call this like the Spirit of the Cup trivia game, but I don't know that Johnnie Walker wants to be affiliated with our stats department. So we like to thank Johnnie Walker nonetheless, obviously presenting this, and if you're going to be in and around New York City for the Ryder Cup this next week, go check it out. Go have some cocktails. Go do some chipping. Buy some merch. All goes to a good place. Fairways to leadership and/or natural areas to leadership. That's our spinoff program here on the Smylie Show. Out of bounds drop to leadership. So big thanks to the good people at Johnnie Walker. And Smylie, I think at this point in time, unless you have anything else, we're going to flip it over to a conversation you just had with Jon Miller, longtime NBC executive, has done some really cool stuff there in terms of partnerships, acquisitions, things like that. And one of the key things he did a number of years ago was part of the core group that brought the Ryder Cup to NBC. And so I think this is a really cool historical journey. We've done a lot of topical conversation around this Ryder Cup, but understanding the history of this competition and how it's become one of our favorite sporting events and such an immense televised product and no bigger stage or bigger scope than it will be this year at Bethpage. So it was a ton of fun listening to you talk to Jon Miller. And I guess without further ado, let's get right over to that conversation now.
Well, happy Ryder Cup week to all of those listening. It's been a long time coming to get to this week, and we have Jon Miller from NBC Sports, President of Acquisitions and Partnerships, joining us today. Jon, happy Ryder Cup week. It's been a long time coming.
It's one of my favorite weeks every other year when it comes, and this one got to us in a hurry. But boy, it's going to be a fun week.
So a lot of people are probably wondering, all right, Jon Miller from NBC, why are we having him on the show? And the reason is that you have such a big influence of why the Ryder Cup is on NBC and why it has been such a successful NBC property since 1991 it wore the shore. Everybody thinks about that Ryder Cup and how it's just one that everybody can't forget. And I want you to kind of walk us through leading up to that Ryder Cup in 1991. That the Ryder Cup wasn't necessarily a TV property that everybody knows as it is today. So walk us through what it was like coming to that 91 Ryder Cup.
There's a great story about that Ryder Cup and how the Ryder Cup came to be and came to NBC. But it all starts with Ken Shanzer, who at the time was the executive vice president of NBC Sports. I was doing programming, and Ken was able to negotiate a deal. We had lost Major League Baseball, and so we made a deal, and Ken led it to bring the Ryder Cup over to NBC. But we didn't have any money to spend on rights because it was an unproven property, as you said. It had been, up until that point in 1991, the Ryder Cup had been on tape, on cable, and on a 1-week delay.
Stop it.
Yeah.
A 1 week delay. And on tape.
A 1 week delay. And it had basically been a highlight show on Wide World of Sports or whatever, but it was not its own dedicated property. But we had lost Major League Baseball that year, the year before, and so we were looking for programming to fill our fall windows. And Kenny ran, acquisitions for the company at that time and was able to negotiate a deal to bring it to NBC Sports. We had two sponsors who were going to underwrite it, Cadillac and IBM, who were going to be the official two partners. And that was the only commercial time we were selling. And we'd sold two packages for $2 million each to Cadillac and IBM.
Is that like the Augusta model where
exactly what it was. They were basically following the Augusta model. And the way it was going to work is we were going to pay the PGA of America $2 million. It was going to cost us $1 million to produce it. And NBC was going to make $1 million. Everybody was happy and whatnot. And the deal was made probably in early 1990. Dick Ebersol had just come over to run NBC Sports and given us the green light to go ahead and do this deal. And we really didn't have any risk in the game because we weren't paying any rights fee. So now we make this deal, And then in the fall of 1990, if you remember, Iraq invades Kuwait, and America goes to war with Operation Desert Storm. And we didn't really think anything of it at the time, but as the war progressed and things became tougher and tougher, and we were sending American troops over and ordnance, et cetera, there was a lot of pressure on a lot of companies to tighten their belts, and we were going through some tough economic times. So in May of 1991, so 4 months before the Ryder Cup, both Cadillac and IBM pulled out of their deals to sponsor the Ryder Cup.
Oh my gosh.
And, you know, I can still remember to this day getting the phone calls because they came within a couple days of each other. And so we were now left 4 months before the Ryder Cup without any sponsorship sold at all, and trying to get something sold that close in for an event that was basically unproven was very difficult. We ended up selling a few small packages, but at the end of the day, I think we wrote a total of $1.5 million worth of advertising. And Ebersol had told Kenny and I to get out of the deal. You know, you guys got to walk away from this. And we basically said, you can't do that. You know, we're committed to this. And so Dick at the time was not as into golf as he eventually became. So he basically said, well, you guys go ahead and do this one, but you got to get out of the 93 one, which was going to be at the Belfry. So we go to Kiowa, and the U.S., as you may or may not remember, got smoked on the first day, and they're down 6-2. So it's not looking good for the U.S. We're in the hole, quite a lot of money. We have to pay the PGA of America their fee, and we still have to cover our production costs. So we know we're losing a lot of money on this. So Saturday morning, I'm in my hotel room in Kiowa, and Kerry Haig calls me to tell me that we have a problem. And I said, Kerry, go ahead. What could be worse than being down 6-2 and getting our butt handed to us both on the course and financially? He says, well, we have a fog delay, and we're not going to be able to start play with the foursomes until close to 10 o'clock. And, you know, we were only on the air till 6 o'clock that day, and we only had 3 hours of coverage planned for NBC. And the other 3 hours was going to be on USA Network. So we said, okay. And so by the time, you know, it got to late Saturday afternoon around 5:30, the U.S. is making a furious comeback. And so I called Ebersol at home and basically told him the situation, that all 4 U.S. matches were still on the front 9 and they weren't going to be done by 6 o'clock. Needless to say, he was not happy to hear any of this. But I said, we can't leave. You can't, you know, leave a tournament like this where we're coming back. So he said, well, you can stay on the air. You just can't run any more advertising. I said, well, we haven't sold any more advertising, so you don't have to worry about that. We gave a bunch of spots to our local affiliates, but we ended up staying on the air until almost 8 o'clock that night. It was pretty dark outside. And the U.S. came all the way back and tied it 8-8. So we were going into the singles on Sunday, all tied at 8. And the first ball of the singles was going to go at 10 o'clock that Sunday morning. And so I'm in the production compound kind of walking around, talking to everybody about 9:30 before we go on the air. And this is 1991, before there were cell phones. And the production manager comes out to me and says, Dick Ebersol's on the phone. He wants to talk to you ASAP. So I was not sure I was going to get a plane ticket home from Kiowa with everything that was going on. And Kenny and I were both kind of scratching our heads like, what more could go wrong here? And Dick said to me, did you get out of that second Ryder Cup deal, the 93 Ryder Cup deal? And I said, no, Dick, to be honest with you, we haven't had those conversations with the PGA. We didn't think it was right to have that conversation until after this Ryder Cup. He says, well, don't do anything. I just got a call from Jack Welch, who was the chairman of GE, who owned NBC at the time, who told Dick it was the greatest sporting event he had ever seen. He was canceling his plans for that day to watch all of our Ryder Cup coverage. And how much longer do we have the deal for? So we obviously stayed on the air. That was when Bernard Longer missed that putt.
Yep.
And Hale Irwin, had the hole. We ended up, taking the Ryder Cup back home, and it was the start of everything that followed. And we've obviously renewed it and extended it several times. I made a deal with Pete Bavacqua, who at that time was the CEO of the PGA. We made a deal in August of 2013 for the next 10 Ryder Cups. So we have the Ryder Cup on NBC through 2031. And I tell people all the time, people say to me, what is your favorite event in sports? Hands down, it's the Ryder Cup. Hands down, it's the Ryder Cup, because there's something about playing for your country. Now, I know the guys are getting paid this time, but there's just something about the nervousness, the tension, the pressure that you feel that we, all of us who play golf have felt pressure. But the pressure in that situation is nothing like anything I could ever imagine. So it's just a lot of fun.
I mean, you described all the risk that NBC was taking heading into this Ryder Cup. You got September golf, which at the time in 91, I can't imagine that was really an enticing place for any advertisers to come in to trust that it was going to do well.
Wally Uline, who at that time was running Titleist, actually said to me, nobody's going to watch September golf when there's college football and the NFL on. We'll give you 15 cents on the dollar, and you can run some Titleist spots. And we took it. We didn't have any other money coming in. But yeah, you're right. It was not a time that golf was front and center on anybody's mind.
So John, was the belief that playing, USA versus Europe in a potential rivalry, was that the enticing part of this? Is that, golf at the time on TV, I'm not sure exactly what it was like in the early 90s, but were you betting on just the rivalry to come out in this event?
I think we were betting on the rivalries. Kenny Schanzer, to his credit, had really been a student and followed the Ryder Cup long before I ever knew that much about it. And he knew what a great event it was. But I think, at those time in 1990, to give you an idea of the NBC golf schedule, we didn't have any majors, no U.S. Open, no RNA, no Open Championship. We had just acquired the Players Championship, which was called the TPC at the time. We had the Senior PGA Championship, and then we had a handful of PGA Tour and LPGA Tour events. But our golf schedule on Saturday was 90 minutes on Saturday from 4:30 to 6 and 2 hours on Sunday. And that was the extent of our golf coverage. And there was no Thursday, Friday coverage or anything like that. So golf coverage on television has gone a long way. And the stars that played in that 1990 Ryder Cup, were golf stars, but they weren't, superstars the way, Tiger Woods became or Rory McIlroy or, today's players have become. So I think that we were counting on the rivalry. And at the time we made the deal, we were just looking for Saturday and Sunday programming to fill the windows that we had for baseball. And we couldn't get into the college football business, and we couldn't get in, and there wasn't a whole lot else out there available to us. And we thought we did golf pretty well, not nearly as well as we're doing it now under Tommy Roy's leadership. Tommy was an associate producer for that Ryder Cup and became executive producer of golf shortly thereafter. But I think that was really a lot that went into it.
So, John, you mentioned the fog, and I found that interesting that you guys stayed on later and it didn't have any advertisers. So you basically just had free golf for everybody to watch and a very enticing Ryder Cup where they tied it up going back from 6-2 to 8-8. How much luck was there involved that you had a Ryder Cup that became one of the more famous Ryder Cups in all this?
I do think that had a lot to do with it. I think, look, the U.S. team had to come back, play well. That was a great team, that they had assembled, and they all stepped up and performed. But there were some unbelievably dramatic moments in that Ryder Cup. I mean, not just the missed longer putt, but the Mark Calcavecchia being 4 up with 4 to go.
He lost it. I still remember the story that he was walking down the beach in just frustration. He felt like he lost the Ryder Cup. Isn't that true?
Well, I will tell you this much. So, as I said, USA Network was the cable partner. They had done Friday's coverage. And we, after Calcavecchia halved his match with Colin Montgomery, he went back into the USA Network trailer, which was backed up against our trailer. So you could actually see, because the windows in the trailer, you could see into that trailer. And he was inconsolable talking with Peter Costas, his coach. He just could not, he was just beside himself. He was so upset. And credit to guys like Raymond Floyd and Dave Stockton and Azinger and all these other guys from the U.S. team who all rallied around him and supported him and, said, look, there's more golf there's more out here. You got to stick around, and you did a great job. But it was very emotional. I mean, that's where you really saw how this event has taken on hold for people. But yeah, I mean, it's very hard. I look at these guys on the first tee. I wonder how they take the club back.
Yeah. Well, how about this, John? So now it's 34 years later, and NBC is still broadcasting the Ryder Cup. This is going to be one at Bethpage that I think everybody's so excited about, with the possibilities of a very close, maybe war at the shore type of vibe at the end of this Ryder Cup. But how have you seen it progress over the years to where we are now?
Well, I've seen a couple things. First of all, we changed our sponsorship strategy after 91 to go with a limited number of advertisers, and that really helped us get it sold, but also the popularity. The great increase in hours, obviously now every single shot is shown from first tee to final putt starting on Friday. Opening ceremonies have become a big event. There's a lot of digital content that's produced. The PGA of America has started to produce a lot of their own content. I mean, Colin Jost from SNL is doing a show out there that you're going to see.
He's the best. That's my Tahoe buddy. Buddy.
I mean, I just think it's become such an event. The amount of requests we have for tickets and hospitality, the way the PGA has sold it out. When the Ryder Cup was here in the U.S. after 91, so it was at Oak Hill, and I found I keep a lot of stuff from events that I've gone to, and I found a couple of old passes, tickets from the Oak Hill event, and the tickets were $35 a day to go and see the Ryder Cup.
Not quite anymore.
Today it's $750 a day for a ticket to go from $35 to $750. I mean,
and that's if you get face value.
And that's right, and that's just face value. And then there's obviously all the hospitality and pavilions and stuff like that. So I just think it's become a bigger event. I also think the news cycle has become much different. Before you'd start talking about the Ryder Cup, maybe towards the middle of the summer, as you got ready to who had points. Now, the moment that Keegan Bradley got named captain, it's been top of mind. And there's stories and who's going to make it and who's not going to make it, and is Rory going to play Bryson in singles? I will tell you, I like the way the President's Cup handles the draft on Sunday for the singles. So you go back and forth.
That's a TV product right there, John.
Yeah, that's a TV. That's strategic and a lot of fun. Here, there's a guessing game going on, but clearly, if you listen to the captains of the teams who have been down going into Sunday, so if you listen to Ben Crenshaw talking about 99. Or you listen to who was the captain in 2012 for the wasn't Faldo. It was Faldo was in 08. I'm trying to remember who it was. And was it Paul McGinley in 2012?
In 2012? Hold on.
Yeah.
I got you.
I forget who it was, but whoever that captain was got his team together, and they decided to put their best players out first.
Yeah, it was Jose Murillo.
Jose Murillo, that's right.
And
because
Davis Love.
They had Seve on the bag. That's right. They had Seve emblazoned on all the European team players' bags, and that was right after Seve had passed away. So, that to me shows you that the strategy and a captain is really important here, and that decision making is really strategic. So you're not reacting to whoever they put out; you're more reacting to what the situation is. So I like it both ways, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see how those when those Saturday pairings come out Saturday night, how Sunday is going to look.
I got one more question from a TV perspective, because this Ryder Cup, it goes, it's every 2 years, but it only comes to the United States every 4. When it's in the United States, from an NBC side, is it much, much better for you guys from an advertising standpoint compared to when it's in Europe with the off hours that, of course, it's on early in the morning?
Sure. We're able to do everything live we're on the air from, Saturday and Sunday from 7:00 until 6:00. I mean, we're every single shot is covered. Obviously, we have USA Network and NBC this year, and then everything you can see on Peacock. But it clearly helps when you can show it all live here and people watch it. So that helps. The demand on tickets, obviously, when it's in the U.S. is a lot more than when it is in Europe. Although I think Adair Manor in 27 is going to be pretty spectacular. So I think there's a lot of that. I will tell you, Smylie, I'm a little bit, I don't want to say worried, but I'm anxious to see how the crowd acts at Bethpage. I was at the U.S. Open in 02 and 09. 02 when Tiger won, and 09 when Lucas Glover won. And the Ryder Cup crowd in the U.S. can get pretty raucous, and a New York crowd even more so. And yet when you go over to a European Ryder Cup, the European fans are fun. They've got the needle out. But I think they're a lot more entertaining. They've got their chants and their soccer chants and their songs, fun. And that really makes it a lot of fun. Here, I hope the USA comes with a few more chants than just USA, USA.
They need to hold some type of conference for USA fans, for everybody to come together to figure out something other than I believe that we will win or USA.
Right. My favorite chant was, you'd be sitting on the 14th green waiting for the next match to come through, and there's a good 15-minute wait between matches, and they start singing, "We're on the left side, we're on the left side, we're on the left side," and then sure enough, on the European bus ride after the Ryder Cup, if you see the video, the players are singing, "We're on the right side, we're on the right side, we're on the right side of the bus." But I think that makes it all fun. And then on the first tee, that group of fans that come over from Europe that are dressed in blue and yellow that lead all the European chants, a lot of them which you can't say publicly, but they're just a lot of fun. And I think that atmosphere makes it exciting. I saw the number of celebrities who were showing up this year is mind-boggling. Just mind-boggling, the people who are going to be there. So it's the hardest part of my job, John, sometimes is when I'm on the ground and I'm supposed to kind of be the eyes and ears, being an on-course reporter, and sometimes when there's somebody famous that is good for me to point out to Tommy, I'll hit him and talk back and say, "Hey, this is X, this is so-and-so." And sometimes I don't know if Tommy will think this person is cool or not. And so I always think about it for a couple minutes. I'm like, will he know who Nelly is? Is Nelly cool enough for me to say? Right. I don't know if Tommy knows. Randolph would know. I'm not sure if Tommy
I don't even know if Doodle will know either. But it's all, I want you to know I have an internal battle every time of, if it's not a quarterback, I always think, like, gosh, should I tell him or not?
Well, I think you probably should preface it by who the guy and why he's famous, or something like that. But I think Tommy is the best that ever was. And I've watched him, for 35 years sit in that chair. We worked together on getting the USGA to NBC back in 1994. We worked together to get the USGA back to NBC in 2020 after it went to Fox. He was a big part of our Ryder Cup presentations and pitches and stuff like that. So he is really a unique individual. And I think what he does with this is his Super Bowl. As good as the U.S. Open is, as good as the Players' Championship is, the Ryder Cup is Tommy's Super Bowl.
He's going to have the fastball cooking, John, this week. When that singles gets going, he's going to be firing. I cannot wait. The Diet Pepsis are going to just be they're going to be firing. All right, give me a prediction, John.
I think it's going to be close. I think the Europeans have a lot of depth, but I think the Keegan Bradley is really going to be a spectacular captain in the Davis Love theme and the Azinger thing. And I think he's got these guys primed and ready to go. I still don't know if he's unpacked his suitcase from 2012 yet.
If not, he needs like an aerosol, just some spray. He's going to probably smell.
I think the U.S. wins by a point.
Wow, that'd be good TV.
By a point with great TV. And I think you're going to get some unsung heroes. I think Cam Young is going to step up and really seize the moment. I think Ben Griffin is going to surprise a lot of people and shine on the big stage. And I think Bryson's going to be fun to watch. But Bethpage, as you know, is one tough golf course. And when it's wet, and it looks like it's going to be wet on Friday, it's going to make it even tougher. So I think that we just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope for great, exciting golf and good weather.
Well, John, thanks for betting on the Ryder Cup for NBC Sports, because this is my favorite event to work. I got to work the Ryder Cup back in Rome, and still I've been jonesing to get back to work another one. So I appreciate you bringing this thing or helped bringing this thing to NBC and making it a television product that people cannot wait for. This Bethpage in New York Ryder Cup is going to be one that we're never going to forget. So, John, thank you. Look forward to seeing New York, and can't wait, buddy.
Okay, Smylie, I'll see you out there.
All right, John, thanks.
Take care.
We appreciate y'all watching and listening. As always, fun bit of trivia, hopping in the game show mind of Smylie Kaufman and trying to navigate that.
Hey, all my beautiful people. How we doing out there tonight? Hey.
And next time, I promise we'll bring the cotton turtleneck. We turtlenecked and suited next time we do a game show. And also big thanks to Jon Miller for joining us and getting us smarter on the history of the Ryder Cup.
I can't wait to do our first live event and just host trivia night and have all of our fans come up and have no idea how the game's going to work and have just like really great prizes on the line that people are going to be upset with the game show hosts on, that we're just going to have to work our way through. We'll eventually get to live shows. We're not quite there yet, but I tell you what is there. The turtleneck that hasn't gone anywhere.
The turtleneck, I think, is maybe like that's the prize, is like the game worn turtleneck. Whatever it is, it's like a Tim Robinson bit.
You might imagine trying to sign a turtleneck. It's like trying to sign one of those book covers you used to have in high school. Those things.
Yeah. Great shout out. You did the stretchy book covers too, like junior high and high school.
Oh yeah,
man, that was great, man. That's just. I just reset my brain a little bit.
High school, right? Yeah.
Well, a ton of fun. Hope that prepped you to some degree for the Ryder Cup. The next time you're going to be hearing from the two of us, we're going to be at Bethpage. We're doing some cool stuff with PGA of America and T-Mobile. That's going to be a ton of fun, doing some live shows on site. We're also going to be doing stuff on our channel as well. So tune into both of those things and let's enjoy it. Let's have a week out there, SK.
Let's do it. And I apologize, too, to all the coworkers out there that are going to be in the office bragging about some stats they got. And they're going to be like, well, this is actually from 1995. Wait, no, actually, it's actually for all the players playing in this Ryder Cup. No, wait, I think it's the last 5 Ryder Cups, or it could be the last 7. Regardless, go watch the Ryder Cup. It's going to be epic. Let's cheer for a very highly contested one, because I want this thing going down to the end.
Well said. Well said. We appreciate y'all watching and listening as always, and we'll talk to you back here from Bethpage very, very soon.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the